All right, let's do this. Hey, today's guest is Marjorie Hope. And Marjorie, thank you. I received your book today called Connect Diplomacy. No, not diplomacy, Connect Diplomacy. That's a word that she made up. So, yeah, this is the book. So, thank you very much. I'm going to be reading this when I go on my next trip here, coming up in a couple of days. But, folks, what this is all about is really getting along. We've gotten to the point where things have been divided. Divided meaning we have divided ourselves from friends, enemies, friends of friends, friends of enemies. We have different points of view, but when it comes right down to it, we are all the same. So why can't we get along? We're going to learn how, and Marjorie's going to help us with that. But before we get into it, let me ask you, are you a pet owner? If you are, please remember to be a responsible pet owner and have your pets spayed or neutered. All right, let's do it. Marjorie Hope, I'm glad you're here.
I am so happy to be here.
Yeah, I am too. Like I said, I shut everything down, but I kind of got it in my head what we're going to go through. But it's really important about the topic that we want to talk about. But first, I kind of want to let folks know that you have two books currently out, and forgive me if I pronounce the first one wrong. But Kari's Gold, is it Kari or Carrie?
Carrie's gold.
Okay, Carrie's Gold, but your latest one, and for some reason it's been giving me this tongue twister because it's Connect Diplomacy, but not
Right.
diplomacy, but Connect
I
Diplomacy.
made up the word and it's now
Yes.
trademarked, believe it or not, connect diplomacy.
Yeah,
It's
I saw the
connecting with
TM.
diplomacy.
Yes. Uh, so let's talk a little bit about you, a high overview of who you are and how and why you got into this. And I know that you were a gymnastic coach at one time. You owned a gymnastics studio, and we've got the Olympics, Summer Olympics coming up here in Paris, and that is probably a huge venue to really connect and have this connect diplomacy.
Yeah, and it's funny that you asked that because a lot of people say to me, well, what are the two books? They're so different, have to do with each other. And I'm like, well, first of all, connecting with each other, whether you're connecting through gymnastics and the Olympics, with connecting with the world through diplomacy, are skills that we use every single day, and we need to use them every day. See, my big thing with Connect Diplomacy, the book, was that we can connect through our differences. We don't have to like everyone, but we need to respect each other. And that's what the Olympics was all about. The Olympics started because they wanted to get countries from all over the world to meet each other and respect each other. And obviously they're very different. And so but the sports are the same. And that's what made it so fun to see them come together.
Yeah. You know, I today so far, I don't know about the future, but right now it is so important to connect, and whether that's individually, definitely, but diplomatically within government offices around the country and even locally, so important.
Yeah. And we're experiencing so much division. And a lot of it comes from social media.
Mhm.
So social media is a great connector because you can see old friends, have pictures from, family members, but it's also a disconnector. Example, you see a group that believes what you believe in, and you get excited and you want to join them, and they accept you. And you talk back and forth for months, and you're maybe even met them in person, some of them, but you feel a part of the group. Then a red flag happens, something that you know isn't right that they're doing. But studies have shown you don't know how to get out at that point because psychologically, I joined that group. They
Mhm.
like me. Everything is what I wanted, but you know better. And people have to remember if you see those red flags, they're there for a reason. You have to get out. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's almost taught us how to divide ourselves. Whereas, like back in the 50s, we were learning how to connect with each other. We're kind of learning now how to disconnect, but we have to get back to the connection.
Yeah, and what you're talking about as far as, we use the internet, the World Wide Web to reach out and to join these groups and things to connect. But I also see what is happening is, sure, we join these groups and we connect and we're part of that group. But then all of a sudden, we are now starting to alienate others who are not thinking the way we think or act or do as we are. And so rather than connecting, kind of like what you're saying, I believe that we start to disconnect. And we put these blinders on. Anybody outside of here is not within my group type of thing. Am I right, wrong, crazy? Am I,
You are very right. So we only have one planet. It's called Earth. We don't have anywhere else to go to right now. So we need to get along. We're connected around the world by everything we do through our cell phones, Amazon, the internet. Uh, but here's the thing, a lot of people that all of these great things that connect us, they have fear, which is false evidence appearing real. Their world is changing and it is going at a very fast speed. The pandemic really did speed it up, but it's a good thing. It's an exciting world right now. But again, a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute. I don't know. I'm leaving my comfort zone and I don't like that. And
yeah.
here's the thing I have to say to people is the world has always been changing. You know, we had horse and buggies. People were not happy about going to automobiles. Believe it or not, people did not like the idea of electricity. They thought it seemed like a really stupid idea. Why would you want to do that? It's you could get hurt. I mean, it's fear. So what we have to teach people is that it's okay to be fear, to be fearful of new things.
Mhm.
It's okay to not like certain things, but you have to respect these things. And that's the part we've been kind of getting away from that. And I
Yeah.
think with connect diplomacy, I try to teach people connect through what you have in common as a human being.
Yeah. Before we really get into your book and maybe find out for me what steps, what can we do as individuals to apply some of these things, I want to
Sure.
ask you, um, and just if you could confirm with me that this has no borders, it has no demographic makeup. It doesn't matter how rich, how poor, what you are, what your status is, right? This crosses all boundaries.
That's right. It's a step-by-step process. And the number one communicator, no matter where you are in the world, is a smile because it opens up a warmness to another human being. Um, when I travel somewhere, I like to learn a few words. Hello, goodbye, thank you, where's the bathroom? Um, these are things that if you know a few words of somebody else's language, it's really helpful and makes them feel good. And again, it's something you're connecting with each other. One of the oldest forms, by the way, of connecting is eating together. Like when you say, let's grab a bite, let's have dinner together. That's something a lot of times as a family unit we've gotten away from. And I call it the fast food theory because back like in the 50s, there was no fast food. So everybody had to eat, let's say 6 o'clock is dinner time. We have to eat at 6. Fast food came along and people could say, I'll be late. I'm going to go do this or that and grab something else. And then I'll meet you later. But what happens around the table? Thousands of years ago, this started. In order to connect with each other, they would eat something together, but you had to put down your sword because you can't eat with a sword. And that's how diplomacy started. And that's something that when we sit around the table together, we talk about our values, our morals, where we came from, where we want to go. And that actually can connect people. Wow, I hadn't thought about that. Guess you're not such a bad person after all, and that's what it's about.
It's interesting that you say that about eating together, and it's a comfort thing. We all eat. It made me immediately think of back in the day, 10, 15, 20 years ago on cruising. They don't do it so much now, but for dining, they would seat you at a table with strangers, and they're from different countries, and everybody ends up talking. How are you? We smile. What did you do today? It was fantastic.
That is fantastic.
So,
Um,
go ahead.
honestly, I have found from every country I've ever gone to, people are people, and
Hmm.
they are nice, they are accommodable. And if there is a situation where you don't understand each other, there is always a way to find a solution. Um, one quick example, I was in Israel in a church years ago that we were visiting, and we had a buddy system, only my buddy forgot to say I was in the restroom. So they left. And here I am in this big, huge, old 1,000-year-old church, and they did not speak English. And actually, they spoke Spanish, and I spoke Spanish. So I was found the way to communicate, and they actually did get me my group. But what I always, they called the bus, and the group came back for me. But what I always remember about that situation, I was scared, obviously, but the priest at the church sat with me until my group came, and in broken language, because we were little Spanish, little English, whatever we could say. And I felt so okay, because
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. It's that human bondness that we have. And it really is, people are people.
You know, from my international travels, and I've gone to countries where I they didn't know English, I didn't know their language at all. But like you said, that smile can make somebody feel comfortable. And I smiled and said, lost, kind of doing the hand signal thing, and where can I go? This kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were willing to help in whatever way they could, pointed the finger direction, doing the little building type of thing. But there is definitely is a difference. If I was angry because I was lost or my group went away, boy, people they're gonna feel it, and no English, go away. But you're so right about that smile, and it's free. It doesn't cost us anything to use, and it's so easy to do.
Yeah. That's right. And we find that people get nervous about a situation in Japan. For example, I was touring the government center, and I wound up in a cafeteria, and I saw a group of people in the corner of the room, and I asked, I guess, like the maitre d' who that was, and he explained that it was the prime minister. And I was so excited. And I said, "Oh, can I go say hello?" And he was like, "Well, I can't go over there, but I guess you could try." And I'm like, "I'm there." So I didn't think, because think about this, children, when they're very young, don't think to be afraid.
Mhm.
And I guess I never grew up, because I didn't think like, oh, he won't want to talk to me. I just was so excited. I walked over, and I had a big smile on my face, and I said, "Hi, I'm from America," as if he didn't know. And I said, "Arigato." I knew a few words, and he was so nice and so accommodable. And he said, "Hello, are you having a good time?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And we chatted for a few minutes, but I will forever think how wonderful that experience was, and how welcoming it was. And that's what it's all about, because no matter where we go in the world, we are at home, because this is our home, Earth. This is it. This is our
Yeah.
world.
Can I be so bold as to say a lot of what I've experienced is Western culture, America, we are more reluctant to learn even a couple words of a different language when we go someplace, and we tend to not open up, not to be shy, but I don't know how to put it. It's just like I don't want to bother with learning. Therefore, I seem like the standoffish person, not the other person when I go someplace. That's just my personal feelings and observations when I've traveled in
I,
groups.
I agree. I was in England and had bumped into a friend who said to me, "Can you believe how rude they are here?" And I said, "No, I've had a wonderful experience, and no one has been rude to me." But when I sat back and thought about this person, I realized he wasn't willing to accommodate to what their customs were in their country.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking you have to learn everything, but it's like, my goodness, it's like, please, thank you, all the basic things you learned when you were a little kid. And that's really all you need to do. And I've always had a great experience, but you have to be mindful of what somebody else's customs are. In Japan, they go arigato, and that's important, to say thank you like that, or konnichiwa, which is hello. But that's their custom, so great. And I think a lot of times in America, okay, so We do have, and a politician said this recently, we have an ocean between us. Now, geographically, we do have an ocean between us, but that ocean doesn't separate us anymore because, again, the internet. And again, all of the things that we deal, I mean, look at what we're wearing. Every piece of clothes is from some, different country. Our chips on our phone are from someplace else. Our phones are from someplace else. And that's wonderful. It's like, isn't that great? We're a melting pot of ideas and innovation.
Yeah.
And how wonderful, because the more we share with each other, the more we get. Albert Einstein was from Germany. Had he never come to America, think how much we would have not had.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let's throw this in there too. Where can people go to find your book?
Oh, as far as my books, you can get them on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And you can basically find everything on itsmarjoriehope.com. The books, all the different activities we're doing, events, programs. And again, we're just trying to help the world learn to connect nations and people around the world
Mhm.
to connect together. And again, you get more together than you're going to by yourself. So I think the hesitation that we see in a lot of people, it's just a little a fear, like we never had to do this before. And now we have to do this now because we have to connect with each other. And that's a great thing. And it's an exciting thing.
Yeah.
So it's a world full of wonderful surprises.
Well, at the very beginning, we were talking about the Olympics and how Olympics really started and how it brings and has brought people together. Of course, we have the Summer Olympics 2024 in Paris. What are your hopes? It's for this Olympic, for all the people, the athletes that are going there, and the families of the athletes. What are your hopes?
Well, athletes don't have time to worry about the world. They're worried about enjoying their sport, and it's amazing how well they'll get along with everybody because they always do. If, let's say, you're a gymnast or whatever sport you may be in the Olympics, you're excited to meet all the other people. You've competed against them. They're fun to talk to. And again, that's a great way to connect.
Yeah.
Um, Other people like families, friends, people that have come to that country, uh, I think it's a great thing. It's a great learning experience, but you have to be mindful that it is a place you're visiting, and be polite and connect the best you can, and get the most out of it as far as enjoy their different foods and the wonderful atmosphere and the fun, exciting things that you will get to see that you don't usually get to see. So yeah, it's a really great positive experience.
We'll be right back. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I'm going to chime in with you on this as far as like family members who go over there or friends of to watch uh, their their athlete, whoever it may be. Don't just stay in your bubble. If you go with your
Right.
family, don't just stay with the family. Like you're saying, kind of reach out and make this into an adventure. Not you're there to support that person, but make this something for you as well, and just open your doors and your experience. I'm sure is going to be much much more fulfilling.
Well, I love that because life is about having circles. And if you think about it, everything, think of all the friends you have, the family, the work friends, they're all circles and they intersect. And the more circles you have, the better your life is because you have different groups that you can talk to and intersect with. And that's the same with the Olympics. Think about the Olympic rings. Those are rings that are connecting us, just like the circles in your life. And that's why it's so important.
Yes, definitely. And I didn't even think about the circles and the Olympic rings, but kind of reaching out as far as diplomacy. And I'll just use foreign diplomacy. It's just a word to say that we're reaching out to others. The way I feel too is we are disconnected, but also if we travel or if we before we travel, we learn a little bit about their foreign policies. I for me, you don't have to talk about politics and religion when you go there, but I think it's important to understand and know certain things about the foreign policies.
Right.
Um, and I also feel that even at home, if we know some of our governmental policies and we talk to other people, it allows us to learn and perhaps cause change. Um, Again,
Yeah,
I
and I
might be reaching out, stretching, but
no, no, you're absolutely right. And a way to kind of think about this is I was on a train in Dubai and I was talking to a young girl who was holding the same pole as me on the subway train about her country, traditions, the culture. And when her stop came first, and when she got off, I saw a sheik staring at me. I went, oh dear. And I said, I hope I have done nothing to offend you. I just wanted to learn about your culture. And he smiled and he said, that's okay. And then he said the funniest thing. He said, I just care about making money. So I laughed. I thought it was such a funny, great answer. And I said, well, I do have to ask you. I felt like some people in the town weren't that happy with me, as an example, like, that I looked funny or something. He said, no, it's that there are older people that aren't as used to the internet yet still. And those people aren't used to your culture. So they don't really understand. He goes, but absolutely, it's all good. And I said, can I get my picture with you? And I kind of said it before I'd really thought it through, but he said yes.
uh,
And then the ultimate, and this proved what I've always said, that people are people, because he gave me a thumbs up in the picture. And that was incredible because as different as we were night and day, ideology, man, woman, different colors, skin, hair, nationality, everything, our belief system. But he recognized that I was a person and he had the respect.
yeah,
And that's what it's all about. Because when we're dealing with people, whether it's business, travel, pleasure, fun, food, if we respect each other, everything else will fall in place.
yes. And I think you kind of said this at the beginning of our conversation is, the internet, and I'm going to say the news and everything else is good and bad both. Because we could tend to put ourselves, as we said, that we seek out a group or whatever it is, but then all we're looking at is like-minded. And if those
Right.
like-minded are closed-minded to other cultures, we become closed. But again, that's the good and bad about the internet and news. And so I guess what I'm getting at is we need to do our own due diligence really to find out about others, other people, other culture, other things. And those are those differences that can bring us together.
Absolutely. And I really believe everyone, and I do believe, and actually I said this to someone recently, and they said, oh, you're so naive. I said, well, then that's good. I'm glad I'm naive because I do want to believe the best in everybody. And I actually really do believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that people sometimes, and I'll give you an example. Years ago, there was only a few television stations, one newspaper in your town. There was no internet. So if you saw an article or something on the TV that you didn't like, wasn't much to do about it. There was no social media. You couldn't get on email and send it to someone. You couldn't, do much about anything about it. Well, you could write to the editor and maybe 2 weeks later get an answer. But the point is that those things kind of passed over and you had to learn to keep going and get along with everyone. And I think we've given ourselves tools that, yes, connect us, but have, like anything in our life, has also disconnected us. So, what we have to do as human beings is realize that those same tools, as good as they are, could disconnect us if you don't think through first. What is somebody saying? If a politician is telling you something that you know is not right, that's okay. Think it through and don't believe it. Think what you, because you know best. And I really do believe people know what's best. When you're a small child and somebody says, be careful, you might fall. Don't do that, you might fall. But little children don't believe that. Think about it. They just keep going and they do fall, but they get back up.
Hmm. One
And
of
that's what
the,
we need to do.
yes, yeah, we do. And one of the best things that you said through all that just now that I like is, you know, we we use that word and we think of it as a negative, naive, being naive.
Right.
But the way you put it, it's it is more of a um I'm naive, so I'm accepting it. I'm accepting, you know, that everybody is a good person until proven otherwise kind of thing. So
Yeah, and there's a great story of 6-year-old boys, okay? And it was so funny because one was had white skin, one had black skin. They were the same age in the same classroom, and they told everybody they were twins. And so the teacher said, I'm sorry, why do you guys think you're twins? And they said, because our birthday's the same day. So we're twins, we're like brothers. Now, what was interesting to me about that story, it's real cute, and I'm sure that happens a lot with little children, is they don't see the differences. They saw the connections. They had the same birthday. That is so cool, right? And I think as grown-ups, we have to start thinking more like the child inside of you. Somebody at some point didn't say to you, this is the last day you'll ever be able to play. This is the last day you'll ever be able to have fun. Nobody ever said that. So what happened? When did you stop? Because playing is a way of creativity, and it gives us a chance to connect with ourselves and with each other. We used to play when you were a little kid with your friends. And I
Yeah.
think we have to get back to that.
I, absolutely. And I'm going to use that word again. Being naive actually gives you some sort of power as well. I think, and
Exactly.
I,
It's
I
so true.
I've been through that experience, and I'll just share a little bit about it. It was when I was little. Of course, I've got different makeup. I mean, different skin color as to where I was in another country, and like between the ages 4 and 6. But these boys that were a little bit older used to call me this name. Well, I did not know it was a derogatory word, but I kept on going back and we kept on playing with them. So I think eventually what happened is they were like, either this kid is dumb or he's strong-willed, and by gosh, he's our friend now. We're
You were
all the
accepted.
same.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
was accepted. And I did not know this word was derogatory until 25 years later.
Well, that's actually what the dinner table conversation, or it could be lunch or coffee, but that's exactly what happens when you go to have something to eat with someone. It's not just a matter of you're getting some food and nourishment, but you're actually connecting through that food because it gives you a chance to put away the things that you disagreed with for a few minutes, have something fun to talk about. I always say if the world could all share a piece of chocolate, we would all be in great shape. Um, but it's actually those conversations that you have with each other. And if that makes us naive, well, that's a good thing. Because being naive is the way a child is and the way a child thinks. That doesn't make you wrong. It makes you see the best in people and the best in things and the best in life and in our world. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. And we have lost a lot of that, but I know I'm naive. I know it's out there still.
That's your super skill.
That's right. Folks, once again, this is Marjorie Hope, and the hope is that everybody connects. Sorry, I had to do that. And she does have a book out that's called Connect Diplomacy. It's ConnectDiplomacy. Oh, um, Marjorie, you have given me hope, um, because I had started losing hope, and it was really because of everything that I have seen going on out there via, uh, not the news in particular, but social media. And I
Yeah.
am a fan of social media, but they're different. There definitely is a cause and effect, and even amongst your friends, it makes you almost like enemies because some for one reason or another, miscommunication or something.
Yeah, you have to take a deep breath every day. Thank God for
Yes.
having the ability and the opportunity to do the best that you can do and be every day. And again, take a deep breath. And honestly, there's hope every single day for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. Marjorie, thank you very much for your time and really your wisdom on this. So I think it's going to be of tremendous help for all of us to relearn to be a kid again.
If you need to get in touch with me, everybody, I will answer anybody that emails me at itsmarjoriehope@marjoriehope.com, or visit the website, itsmarjoriehope.com. And I just want everybody to remember to keep on believing, keep on dreaming, and every day is a great day. Well, thank
Uh,
you. And I'm so excited to have been on your show. This was wonderful.